Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Hey, we're back. Senator Chris Duenas is my guest tonight. And of course, we're talking about Resolution 35-32, calling for congressional action on compact impact reimbursement. Sorry, I cut you off prior to the break. Let's go ahead and continue in regards to that situation. We're talking, of course, about federal consent decree.
Sure.
And what they have to adhere to. I mean, even as of late, in regards to the original landowners,
sure,
up in Malolo there, Lejon, that again basically calls fair compensation for
sure,
for land that has been taken by eminent domain.
Right.
Okay, and of course the federal receiver is saying, it's not my problem.
Yeah.
It's not my problem. That money should go to here. So we see again the arrogance on that side, but we see where again, hey, I don't care about your problems. I'm here to do this job. Well, likewise, on the federal side, they owe us this money.
That's right.
They owe us this money.
Yeah, and that's interesting, Senator. You know, really, we fall under the thumb of having to live up to these federal mandates, which is fine. We're part of the American family.
Sure.
The laws, apply to us and make sense to keep our people safe and provide for a good environment. But on the other side of the coin, really, is the fact that you lay down the consent decrees all the time, knowing that there is quite a bit overdue from the federal government to go on. It's interesting because there's been a recognition from every political office,
sure,
to include our delegate's office, the governor's office, regardless of who has been sitting in those offices, and the legislature, that offsets are something that are attractive. And that could be worked into the resolution as well. As you said earlier, Senator, this is very reasonable.
Sure.
We're not asking for a one-time appropriation of
sure,
$500 or $600 million. We're saying on an incremental basis. And just a note as well, Senator, this is actually coming from, in the resolution, calling for this funding source to come from the Department of Interior. The Congresswoman has repeatedly said to us here, local officials, that saying that, when you consider anything like this, consider that, with the rules of the House now, you have to identify a funding source. Well, Senator, I know that former governors, the Congresswoman herself, other Congress representatives, as well as legislators and directors, have gone to Washington, as I said earlier, knocking on doors. And one of the most difficult things is to go to defense, justice,
sure,
education,
sure,
down the line, only to be sent to knock on other doors. The reality is, and the governor announced today, which I'm very happy, $6 million from Interior for current ongoing projects.
That's right.
And things that we're entitled to.
Buses and all that.
Buses and the like. Very happy about that.
Bucks for buses.
Bucks for buses. We got bucks for buses.
There we go.
And so the thing is that I've just come to believe that really, at this point, I think the buck stops for the Department of Interior.
Sure, absolutely. And you know what? I mean, I was just really dismayed when actually in the public hearing in a House resolution that she authored, basically, was that in the offset, and was really upsetting was I read that she was identifying a Section 30 funding, basically, to offset for war reparations.
Sure.
For war reparations, and basically when you're reading through that, and the former Speaker of the Legislature, Jyoti Augustine, of course, testified, against that her proposal as well, because
sure,
basically he's asking us to pay, for us to pay for it ourselves.
Sure.
Basically with that, and an offset is basically identifying a source of funding, and if you said, hey, we're going to pay for it ourselves, I mean, the folks in Congress are going to say, that's a new concept. Let's give it to them, and that opens up a whole Pandora's box in regards to what else that we're going to need. And it says, well, you got Section 30, continue tapping into that.
It does, and as you know, Senator Tony Yatta and Senator Respicio, and they came out with the release several months ago. When they went to Washington for other reasons, that was one of the very clear things that they did with regard to the resolution as well. Is really, like I said, we amended it, and it clearly calls for the compact impact reimbursement to be to be one of the funding.
Let's go back a little bit, because you're a member of the APIL as well, right?
Yes.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, tell our audience out there what Hawaii did. What Hawaii's got a balanced budget now.
That's right.
And this is what they said in regards to, I guess, again, their compact impact reimbursement.
That's correct. 2 years ago, we were out in the conference in Palau, and the collection of the FSM and all of the members of the APIL, and basically what had happened during that time was one of the senators from Hawaii, Kalani English. And it was very brave of him, because here he is in the middle of Palau.
State senator, right?
State senator, yeah. Okay. Here he is in Palau, and all of the brothers and sisters are there. We're all there to talk about our issues.
Sure.
And he makes that announcement saying, I'm sorry guys, but I have to bring this to your attention so that you understand where this is coming from. But we have a balanced budget amendment
in Hawaii,
and we cannot incur a deficit. So we are going to announce to the federal government shortly, as we pass our budget, that we will no longer be providing services to the FSM as a result of our budget constraints and the fact that the federal government has not fully recognized their obligation and is not paying their fair share towards the hosting of the FSM residents in Hawaii. And I mean, this obviously their economic base and their engine is so much larger than ours to be able to and their power in Congress.
Yeah.
And and the Senate. So I'm glad you asked me that, Senator, because one of the reasons also for this resolution to call for the introduction of legislation is we're hoping to stir the pot really with other states that have clearly made their case now to the federal government as well. California, as we said, Hawaii.
Sure.
I know that the Northern Marianas has made their case.
Sure.
The state of Washington now is making a case. Also, of course, Arkansas, because of the factories that they have there and the burgeoning population.
And rightfully so.
And rightfully so. So the thing is that the clear intent, the multifaceted intent of this resolution really is hitting a lot of angles. As I said, stepping up our game. Because the fact of the matter is that I believe if legislation such as introduction of a bill for this reimbursement for Guam would attract a lot of attention from states who have a lot of power in the House and have a lot of power in the Senate, and I believe this resolution could create a synergy to say, let's sit down at the table and once and for all recognize the true cost of our agreement.
Well, one of the things that we recognize on what happened in the 2000 renegotiation of the compact of free association is that we've had to share, that amount that was coming to us now between the different states that have of course the citizens of our brothers and sisters basically that are going elsewhere to of course find a better living. So we've had to share that now. So our costs, our reimbursement funds on an annual basis has declined.
Absolutely.
I tell you what, when we come back, there are four provisions that you're putting on in this, and let's talk about those highlights that you're asking the delegate to bring forth in Congress.
Okay. And the public hearing date.
And the public hearing date, yeah.
Thank you,
we'll be right back.